Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be discussing about arrays. So arrays are an essential part in any programming language, and arrays help us to much better organize our values or inputs. So if you look into Java point here, we can see that an array is a collection of similar type of elements which have contiguous memory location. So rather than looking into the definition, we would try to understand arrays through an example. So imagine you're in your office, and in your office you have a cabinet. In that cabinet you have different drawers. So let's say the manufacturers of that cabinet, they marked the cabinets with a number, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you already have some knowledge about programming, you would know that everything starts from 0, not from 1. So let's say the manufacturer, they started from 0 2, so they are coders. Anyways, so this is how they started, and in each drawer you have your special document or a separate document of different topic. So let's say this contains your homework, this is your medical information, this is your school, college, university, and so on. Now let's say someone comes into your room and asks you, could you give me your university notes? Now rather than going up to the cabinet, you can tell them that you can just open the drawer 4 and you can get all the notes there. So array is similar to this. So array is this. Array would give you a cabinet where you can store information. However, in Java, an array contains information of the same type. So for example, we have an array. So this is how arrays are represented, and these are the index numbers, so the cabinet numbers that the drawer numbers that we talked about. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's say this array would contain only strings. Strings are basically words or sentences. Now you can put different type of strings in this. Let's say hello, let's say school, and let's say day. However, you cannot put let's say 12 or a character, let's say A. These are not what the array would contain. The array has a limit of only taking values that are of string. Now if you have another array that only contains integers like 1, 2, 3, you cannot put let's say a string school in this one. This is not okay because that array is designed to contain only integers. So this is the concept of arrays. Now we are going to look into where it is useful. Now let's say you are working on a program, and in that program, let's say there are many users that are going to input their values. Then on the basis of that value, you're going to work on the whole program or whatever you are doing. So let's say this guy gives you 2, this guy gives you 10, and this guy gives you 99. So let's say you want to find out the sum of these values. Based on all of their different results, you're going to find the sum. So rather than waiting for the first guy he's going to give you 2, then you're going to find the sum. So the sum of 2 is 2, and you're going to find the average. The average is also going to be 2. Then the next guy would come and he would give, let's say, 10, and now you're going to work with 2 and 10. Then you're going to sum it up, then you're going to average it, which is going to be 6. So this is a very tedious process. However, array gives you the comfort that multiple inputs can be given at a point, then you can work with all these inputs. So a better example would be, let's say in your class you're given an examination, and after the examination the teacher checked all the marks, and for 40 students he found out 40 different marks. Let's say all of them are like 30, 31 and up to, let's say, 95. So rather than working with these two at first, then finding out the sum, then working with like these three, then sum, and the process it would be very tedious. What the program or the array would help you to do is, you can declare an array of size, let's say you have 40 students, so size of 40, and the professor, he can input the values up to, let's say, 95, and then he can tell the program to find the sum, the average, and the minimum and the maximum value. So this is where arrays come into play. They make your programming or simple mathematics stuffs, in some cases more complex, more easier and more convenient. However, one of the biggest problems of arrays is that you cannot put a value in between two indexes. Let's say we have 1 here and 2 here. Now you want to put 1.5 and you want it to be in between them. Now in your mind you can think, okay, so I would need a bigger array. You're running out of space here, so we needing a bigger array, and in that array I'm gonna put 1, then 2, then 3, 4. I'm gonna put 1.5. Well, you cannot change an array after it's declared or initialized. You have to create another array, then you have to put the values manually, then you can work on it. You cannot change an array after it's initialized. You cannot increase its size or decrease its size. You can change the values in each indexes. Let's say you can change 3 to, let's say, 4, but you cannot change the size. That's one of the cons of array, and the solutions are list, queue, stack, and whatever. So that is one of the problems. Now I'm going to show you how to traverse an array. So now we are going to look into how an array is initialized or created. So there are two ways basically of creating an array. This is the first one, this is the second one. And the first one, as I said, you have to declare what type of array you want. So in this case we are declaring that we want an integer array. The name of the array would be array, and this sign is basically telling the compiler to make an array that would have a name of this and that would contain integer values. And this is the size of the whole array. So this would look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That is the size of the array. This is another way of creating an array, and in this case, rather than telling the size, you are just directly inputting the values and the size would be automatically decided. So for this case we have 5 values, so the size would be 5. Now how do you traverse an array? So let's say you have this array to work with, where you have put all the values, and you have to have a for loop to traverse an array. So this is the for loop, so it starts from 0. This is where we are starting from, and the first thing it would be printing is array with the index of 0. So it would be printing 10, then it would be increasing its value, so I plus plus, meaning I becomes 2 now, 1 now. Then we go to system.out.print array index of 1, which is 20, then 30, 40, and 50. That's it. And if you are using this method to create an array, then you have to manually take inputs. So A0, let's say you have to put 10 there, A1, 20, A2, 30, and so on up till A4, because remember the indexes always start from 0. So if you have a length of 5, that means 0 to 4. So this is all about arrays, and arrays are pretty easy and very useful whenever you're starting programming, and an array also has industry uses. So try learning the basic concepts and practicing on manipulating arrays in different ways. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked the video, and if you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to comment down below. Thank you.